Hello and welcome to your Tuesday checklist. This week, what with The Sims 4 being announced as one of February's PlayStation Plus games, we've been thinking about how much we really enjoy being mean to video game NPCs. Oh, so mean. But then occasionally, you'll get those NPCs who defy your murderous intent with their shields of quest giver immortality. How very dare you, video game NPCs. Here are our picks for invulnerable NPCs we wish weren't quite so invulnerable. Nathan's up first with a rediscovered character feud from yesteryear.
So, NPCs who are invulnerable, but who we wish we could destroy. My one comes from a fairly old game now. It was a game that I replayed recently at Christmas, Infamous. And I first played the first Infamous in 2009. I reviewed the game, and I recently decided, for reasons I don't even know why, to go back and platinum it. I got very close to the platinum.
I don't know why.
I know I'm obsessed, I just can't explain the reasons for it. So in going back and rediscovering it, tons about that game that I really enjoy. Obviously I've decided 10 years later to go back and finish off the trophies. I now have the platinum, but if I could kill Zeke on the way, who is your best friend, I would have done it multiple times. And let me say, I think that in terms of the way that characters, even sidekicks, are presented in games, obviously we've moved on, but there is just something about it. So the Cole McGrath is the hero of the piece. He's got powers, accidentally electrical powers after a big explosion. He's like a bike courier and urban explorer who can now do all these, like, so it's like the characterization is quite strange anyway. And then your best friend is sort of a mechanic, greaser. He's got like a rockabilly hairdo, wears glasses all of the time, and he's sort of just lazy, slobby. He's down, like he uses like terrible slang all the time, and he's basically like rubbish, and he's always down in the mouth about how cool your powers are and how he's rubbish now. And jealous. I was annoyed at everything he says and does anyway. And then there's a point in the story where it's called the Ray Sphere. It's the object which has probably given you powers. There's a fight over it, and he grabs it and tries to detonate it, decides to kill thousands of people in the city in order to hopefully give himself powers. And actually nothing.
Wow. And
actually nothing happens. So there's like this obnoxious person who I was like not enjoying interacting with all the way through, and then at some point it turns out that he's happy to wipe out an entire city just so that he too can fire electricity from his hands.
Does he succeed in getting the powers?
No, nothing happens to him, and he doesn't know why. And then he gives the Ray Sphere to the big bad guy, and then just disappears until the end of the game when he says sorry. And then he's in the sequel. Incredibly.
Oh, I'm sorry there.
And so you've got this ability to just one of the fun things about Infamous is at the time it was like quite new. You could take good decisions or bad decisions, and you would become either famous or infamous. You'd become like a hero or a villain. So you could just zap everybody. Like everybody in this place, you could just fire enormous I can't remember what they're called. You've got you can call thunder from the skies, and you can tear up entire streets just full of people. You can kill anyone you want, but not Zeke. There's nothing you can do with Zeke. So I was enormously frustrated about that, and I wish I could have killed him, but I couldn't.
Right then, an invulnerable NPC who I wish was not so invulnerable is Preston Garvey from Fallout 4. I do believe that certain changes have been made to Fallout 4 now, so you can actually kill the invulnerable NPCs. But we're talking about, I'm going to go back to 2015, fresh out the box Fallout 4. And Preston Garvey became quite an infamous character around this time. I mean, you go on Twitter and there are lots of Preston Garvey memes and the thing Preston Garvey does, he's one of those quest givers who he's never happy. He'd be like, oh, someone's been taken captive by raiders over there, we need to save them. So, okay, hike across mutant-infested wasteland, battle your way through a building full of raiders, save the person, leg it back to Sanctuary, and you're like, oh, Preston, save them. Now they can join the Minutemen as well. Preston's the leader of the Minutemen, I should say, this faction of people, faction of survivors. And his speech for saying well done was basically that's great news, and that's pretty much all he had. How good. You could go back, you're like, Preston, I've just fought through 5 waves of raiders. Then some super mutants attacked me on the way back. I somehow got, and the captive is alive. And like, I've been to that other settlement and they've got food now. I built them an entire farm. Great news. I've got another problem for you. That's all he would do. He would say,
I've got radiation poisoning. I'm actually facing life-changing illness.
exactly.
Great news.
But yeah, and he would just, and that isn't even the reason, that isn't even what tipped me with him. What tipped me with him is like halfway through the Minuteman quest, you get a mission where the Minutemen sort of grow to a large enough size that they want to take back this old castle that they used to hold because they think it will help them spread their message across the wasteland a bit more. Anyway, this castle is home to a Mirelurk queen, and I went into this mission quite underleveled. And so it was one of those missions where I went in, killed a bunch of Mirelurks, ran out of ammo, as you quite often do in Fallout, and you're like, okay, I don't have enough firepower to take down this Mirelurk queen. It's all right, I'll just come back to this later. Little did I know that as soon as you activate that mission, Preston Garvey is with you until you finish that mission. So then I went around, doing some other side quests. I even had other companions with me, like Nick Valentine. I was doing some of his missions. Piper, I think, another companion I was doing some missions with. And Preston, every time I fast traveled, the first thing you'd see was just his face with that stupid rifle he carries around in his hat. And his line changed from, a new settlement needs our help. His line changed to, very urgently, we have to take back the castle. We have to take back the castle. We have to take back the castle. And I'd be there talking to other people about other stuff, and he'd just be, doing what Fallout in the background. We have to take back the castle. We have to take back the castle. I couldn't get rid of him. And so we were going into, various dangerous places. I was going to go into this very dangerous place. Preston, come into this very dangerous place. And of course, he's an invulnerable quest giver, so he can't die. And he'd be there getting attacked by, I went into like a super mutant den and was, from long range just sniping them. And Preston just sort of runs in with his rifle. He gets absolutely battered and then does that invulnerable NPC thing where he's sort of on his knees for a bit. And then just gets up. We need to take back the castle. Why won't you die? And I would fire like Fat Man rocket launchers at him, like mini nuclear missiles, like bottle cap mines, grenades, sniper rifles, just everything. Go away, Preston, leave me alone. In hindsight, maybe I should have taken all those things and used them on the Mirelurk. But you can't get rid of him, and he's really annoying. And I had about a good 2 or 3 hours of gameplay where he was just everywhere I went, constantly repeating the line, we have to take back the castle.
All right, what's our definition of invulnerable?
Doesn't die.
But could they die, but then it's game over if they do?
Oh yeah, I think that counts, probably.
Yeah, I'm curious now.
Basically, I've got two options. So I'm going to go with the first one, which is the one I was asking about.
Okay.
So Dandelion from The Witcher, you're safe for now. So the person I'm going for is Ashley from Resident Evil 4.
Ooh.
She's also a playable character for a little bit of time, but we're also going to ignore that.
Good pick.
So she is, Resident Evil 4 is my favourite Resident Evil. I think I discussed this when we were playing 3, Rosie and I was like,
we did have a good old chat about
Jimmy, I love a cult. So I love Resi, I love cults. When they come together, good times. But in it, you have to, of course, rescue the president's daughter, who's been taken by this cult. And I expected her to be a little bit rubbish. Because I was like, that's fine. She's like a pampered princess. She's, she is so unbelievably useless. She can't do anything. And she can only follow 2 commands. You're either run, and she's like, or hide, and she's like,
isn't it just, wait, follow me, wait, follow me.
Literally, that's what it's like.
Me.
So that's all you do. So she doesn't help with anything. She just gets in the way. You can accidentally kill her, and then it's like, everything's over now, well done. And I'm like, oh, she doesn't know to not run in front of a gun. How is that my fault? She's a nightmare. She's also really annoying. So if you get caught in a bear trap, right, you just are hurt for a bit, and then you get up and you're like, oh, I'm hurt. She lays there and she's like, are you going to help me? Are you going to help me? She's literally, Leon, like the way she screams Leon is so infuriating. They've just made her so, if she was just rubbish, I'd be like, that's fine. She's scared. She's like being kidnapped by this cult. Sure, she's going to be a little bit annoying. But they made her insanely annoying. As if that's not bad enough. She won't climb down ladders.
What? Oh yeah, you have to catch her.
You have to catch her like a child getting out of bed. She literally walks to the edge and is like, catch me. I'm like, what? No, get down the ladder. And the first time I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to walk away. And then she's like,
Looks like we're at an impasse.
And I was like, sorry, I actually have to catch her. And the game was like, yes, catch. I was like, what is this? I was like, come on, man! And so at the beginning, I had sympathy for her because I was like, oh, it really must be terrifying. They look horrifying. Like everybody in the cult, you know what they look like? They're really like creepy and unsettling. And she's like the president's daughter and she's been snatched and she probably never thought she could be. So I was sympathetic at the beginning. But at no point, like if I got kidnapped and somebody rescued me, I would never be like, well, I'm not walking downstairs. Like, I would be like, yeah, let's go. Also, do you have a gun? Or like, but instead, she's literally just behaving like a stupid pampered princess the whole way around. And like there's a tinge to her voice which is just slightly angry at you, and I'm like, how dare you? How are you enjoying that bear trap? She's just so frustrating. So yeah, like I said, I considered Dandelion, then I remembered Ashley, then my mind went blank and I passed out from rage for a little bit and came back around, decided that was who I was picking. Ashley from Resi 4.
So an invulnerable NPC that if I could, I would love just to get a little fist in the face.
That's the rosiest way to describe it.
Yeah, just a little fist in the face. It's a little one.
It's a little one. I mean, my hands aren't that big. But no, I've decided to go way back when to the PlayStation 1. So out of all of the things, I know. And I've chosen a character who I first interacted with on a demo disc in Disney's Hercules. In Disney's Hercules, there is a level where you're in Thebes, is it? It's like you're in the city.
Yeah.
Is it? I'm pretty sure it's Thebes. And you're like, you're Hercules, you're running around being a hero and stuff. There's a moment when there's a big ox thing and he throws rocks at you and it's great. But there's one NPC who you can't do anything with. And he's, if you know Disney's Hercules, there's a character, he's only in the film for a brief moment. But he comes on running in saying it's the end of the world. And he's really mad. He's got some sort of like, it looks like a bin, but I think it's like an actual part of a Greek pillar thing. Yeah. And basically in the level, he just runs around with his arms flailing up and runs into you. So it's not even as if he's minding his own business. And he hurts you. It causes you damage. But because he's just a civilian, you can't do any damage to him. And there are some NPCs, characters in the background where there are some girls being like, oh, Hercules, I love you. And that stuff. There's a character who gives you things and that's great. But just this one NPC that's like the one human NPC anyway, he just runs around. And then when he runs into you, he goes like, wow. And he makes the most annoying sound. And he doesn't pop up once in the level, he's throughout the whole thing. So you could jump over him, he'll come running after you again, and then he'll just go backwards and forwards for a bit.
Sounds like Nemesis from Resident Evil 3.
He's not quite a Nemesis. He's not as brutal as a Nemesis. He's just so annoying. And then because Hercules is very center in the camera, so when you're running right, if something quickly comes at you from the other or from the left, you can't see them immediately. So then you're just running around having a good old time in Thebes when suddenly just a man in a bucket just comes running in with his arms flailing in the air and he causes you damage. And it's just... And I just remember being a kid, all I heard all the time was the wow of him getting hit, and then he hides in the bucket for a bit, and then you hear his little feet go like as he runs off again, and it was just so frustrating. But because he's a person and just a civilian, Herc's not an evil guy. You can't kill him or anything, so you just have to deal with his running legs and just try and jump over him or just run away from him or do whatever you can in order not to hurt him. But he's incredibly annoying. It's scarred me from since I was a child, and hopefully others will have the same feeling.
I love that you could have just taken back the castle room. That would have ended this misery. But you were like, no, I want to do my thing. Just a minute, man, you could have said to him.
Oh.
Yeah?
No. Good one, Dave. Now go and sit in the corner. So there we go. Invulnerable NPCs we wish we could destroy. Let us know your own examples in the comments. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video and click that notification bell so you're always up to date with everything from the world of PlayStation.
For the players.